granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
I don't think there's any need for much comment on this X post that I came across. I'm just going to read it out to you. I have cut out both the addressee and the person who was writing it because I don't know whether they'd want me to leave their names in. And the X post goes like this. I'm currently working on a construction site in Ilford, East London. It's a 24-floor new build apartment block consisting of studio 2 3-bed apartments. And then the writer says, this is better spec than my house. This build is by Telford Homes and their client is Redbridge Council. We've all just found out that the building is going to be leased as a hotel by Redbridge to whomever to run it. I use the term hotel loosely because it is in fact going to be utilised as a migrant hotel. Over £50 million in the making. Where has that money come from, etc. They've removed 2 flats on the 13th floor and put in a residence lounge bar area. What housing does this for any other type housing? Obviously, a commercial company would not remove part of the 13th floor for non-rental use. A common room doesn't bring them any money. So this is something a council can do because they aren't thinking about profit. They'll just put the local taxes up if they need to cover the costs. Meanwhile, they have a place where these migrants, it's obvious it's going to be something like that, can socialise without going out into the streets and bothering the locals. At least I think that's probably the thinking behind it. OK, they've removed 2 flats on the 13th floor and put in a residence lounge bar area. What housing does this for any other type housing? Ground floor, there's a gym, doctors, and what can only be conceived as a prayer room. Please can you keep me anon? Cheers, pal. Now, I just have to say something else here. First of all, this is, I'm assuming it's one of these buildings here, possibly this one, but whatever. Being built, a 24-floor new build apartment, fairly high spec, with one of the floors being turned over to some sort of communal area and the ground floor being turned over to a prayer room, a doctor's surgery and a gym. So they're trying to keep these guys in that building to keep them away from the locals, probably. I'm sure that's the thinking behind it. But of course, most of the people they're aiming this at are young men. They've shown themselves to be extremely energetic and hardy. They won't be stuck in that building all the time. They will be wandering around the streets. And that money could have been used for the many homeless people in that part of London, or people living in what most people watching this video would regard as substandard or overcrowded accommodation. But instead it's being turned over to migrants. And I have to ask, what is wrong with us that this is happening? From bottom to top, from the boats to the 24th floor of that building. How come we have so many people who are supposed to be looking after our welfare as a country, who are looking after the welfare of, at the most charitable, breakers in, and at the least charitable, you could look at this as barracks for an invading army. And I don't understand. They are also British, the people who are doing this. Why are they allowing this to happen? And I really cannot understand it. So let's have a look at this AI overview. I just asked how long the wait for council accommodation was in Redbridge. Residents in the London Borough of Redbridge face extremely long waits for council accommodation, with some waiting times for social housing exceeding 20 years. As of late 2024, over 7,500 households were on the borough's housing register. Redbridge has one of the highest waiting lists for social housing in East London, with over 7,500 households on the register. And of course, the household could be a couple with 4 children. It could be just a single mother, something like that. But it's more than 7,500 people. Wait duration. While some applicants might wait over 20 years, others face varying long-term delays depending on their band. The demand for social housing in Redbridge is more than double the available housing supply. Due to the shortage of available permanent homes, many residents are placed in temporary housing, such as hotels or bed and breakfast accommodation, which is awful. And if there's a family there, it's just horrendous. And many of these bed and breakfast places aren't really nice places to live. They're a roof over your head, and some of them are very little more than that. There are over 2,800 families currently in temporary accommodation. That's families. Redbridge Council, it says here, is actively working to manage a large projected overspend in its housing budget due to the cost of this temporary housing. So Redbridge Council are in debt. And yet that building there, according to one of the people working on the project, that's for complete strangers who've just arrived on the shores of this country, and there are people living in misery while that building's going up. It's disgraceful. I know I've heard plenty of weird theories, but it does start to look like the government is making a project that we are not privy to. That's the mildest way I can put it. And I'm sorry for the poor buggers living in Redbridge who every day will see that building, know what's going on, know that they are paying for it, and can do nothing about it. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.